Hi, my name is Carly Wardwell, and I'm a certified credit counselor with Debt Counseling Corporation.
And hi, my name is Carol Court. I am also a certified credit counselor with Debt Counseling Corporation.
Over the next several minutes, we're going to speak with you about how to create a monthly budget. Now, when most people hear the word budget, they want to run. No one wants to keep a budget. And most people think of a budget as a form of restriction, but a budget is actually the opposite of restriction. It actually gives you the freedom to plan how you're going to spend money, find ways where maybe you're overspending and perhaps can cut back on your spending, so you can have the money or allocate the money for things that you really want. Perhaps putting money into an emergency savings, doing something fun with the kids, vacation, retirement, anything that truly is what your goal is going to be. So to start with the budget, we need to figure out what your income is going to be. Many people have a variety of income sources, so let's discuss the different types. First, some people may just have a salary job where they receive the same amount of hours and the same amount of pay every single week, bi-weekly, or month. When you're creating your budget, determine what this income is. Other people have jobs where they make an hourly salary, but their hours vary each week. And for those people, it's a little bit more difficult to determine your income. Carol, how would I determine my income if I get paid by the hour and my hours vary?
You do want to make sure that when you determine your hourly income, it's a weighted average over a year's period. You need to look at when you're getting more hours versus less hours. Some people do get more hours, possibly in the summertime or possibly during the winter when there's holiday time. You do want to make sure that you take those hours, times them by the amount of months that you're doing those specific hours, and really divide the rest over the year period.
Don't forget to include other types of income, such as alimony or maintenance if you receive it regularly, child support if you receive it regularly. I tend not to include those incomes if they are not received consistently every week or every month. I think for a lot of individuals who work overtime, this is where people start to become challenged in regard to their budget. Many people rely on their overtime income and in some ways consider it part of their income regardless. But with the state of the economy, overtime continues to be cut, it continues to be reduced, and there's no guarantee that you're going to receive it. So what I like to tell people who earn a lot of overtime is to start with their budget on their base salary, and then anything extra or over that can be included as far as a plan for savings or the fund money that they may have. I never want to include overtime as a consistent source of income. Next, once you calculate what your income is, we need to figure out what your expenses are. There are 4 major categories of expenses. There are fixed, flexible, periodic, and discretionary expenses, all of which should be included on the budget. So to start your budget, I always go through my fixed expenses. Carol, what are some fixed expenses?
So most of your fixed expenses are items that are the same amount throughout the year. So your rent or your mortgage payments, your car payments, any student loans you have that you're paying back on, or personal loans.
Write all of those down, and then you're going to move on to the flexible expenses. Flexible expenses occur every single month, but the amount of them varies. For example, your grocery bill is not always going to be the same from week to week to month. Your gasoline for your car is not always going to be the same from week to week, from month to month. So those are the flexible expenses. How do I categorize, or how do I determine what to put in my budget for these flexible expenses?
What I would try to do is really keep track of what you're spending over a month period of time as far as groceries go. Those are your most hard to determine flexible expenses because you go to the store, you spend $20 here, $30 here, or maybe you do a big trip to the store. So you do want to make sure you're writing down, at least for that first month, what you're spending so you can determine what a good average would be.
Okay. And the next category of expenses would be your periodic expenses. These expenses occur throughout the year, but may not occur on a regular basis, monthly, bi-monthly, whatever your expenses are. For example, if you have a vehicle, you have maintenance on your vehicle, oil changes, inspection, something's bound to break at some point and you're going to have to fix it.
Yearly registration.
Yeah. So you know these occur, but because it's not part of your every day or every month, a lot of people tend to forget to include this in the budget, and we should certainly put money aside for it. So what I typically tend to do is determine, for my car specifically, this is how much I'm going to spend each year, or this is how much I plan to spend each year. Maybe $1,200. My car is old. So I would take the $1,200, divide it out by 12 months, and plan to spend $100 a month for my vehicle maintenance. Now, in the months that I do not have vehicle maintenance, I should still be putting that money aside, so when the vehicle maintenance does occur, I have the reserve to put aside. What are some other examples of periodic expenses, Carol?
So some of the periodic expenses are possibly birthdays and holidays.
Mm-hmm.
There are many times you're going through today, this month I have no birthdays,
Mm-hmm.
but next month maybe I have 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
You do need to put that money aside just as you did with your car maintenance, and
Mm-hmm.
put money aside so that you have it when a birthday or holiday comes up.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, the last form of expense is really the discretionary expenses. What's a discretionary expense?
A discretionary expense is something like vacation, items that you're looking to do, but not necessarily need to do.
Eating out,
Yes.
entertainment, all of this falls in the discretionary category. So with that being said, you have room for adjustments. These are not must-haves each month. This isn't food, this isn't, shelter, this isn't utilities. So this is where most people can make the biggest adjustment within their budget. So once you sit down and create your budget that has your income, you're going to compare it to what your expenses are. Perhaps once you add up all of your expenses, you realize that you're spending more money than you're actually bringing in. And now we need to address how to reduce your expenses or increase your income so the amount of money you make versus the amount of money you spend breaks even. Or perhaps you create your budget, and when you compare your income to your expenses, you realize you should have money left over at the end of the month, but a lot of people aren't seeing it. So now we need to determine, where are you spending more money than you have anticipated, so we can find the money, help you determine where you're spending it, find ways to reduce it so you can either see the money or make sure you're buying the things that are important for you to buy. That is the very basics of budgeting. In some of our future shows, we'll discuss how to reduce spending, because there are a ton of ways, one of Carol's favorite topics. If you have questions or concerns, or you would like to help you create a monthly budget, we are more than happy to do so. Please give us a call at 631-582-4300. And as always, there's never a cost for budget counseling. We thank you so much for listening to the show for the past few minutes, and we hope you learned something, and happy budgeting.
Thank you.